All right, Sean, I appreciate you coming back on. We're going to get an update of what is going on with Sean's Multicab. Okay, so the last time we talked, you had a whole plethora full of problems, and since you thought you had it pretty much fixed, and now I think originally you had, it was the electrical wiring, it was not a 4x4 which you were promised.
Yeah.
Problems with the struts. But let's go through. You have actually a list. I think you have about 21 items.
Yeah, it's not everything. I'll send Gio the list I've comprised and everything. But
you think you've spent anywhere from 70 to 100,000 extra pesos?
Oh, easily. And if the guy that is my mechanic wasn't a friend, I probably would have spent more than that.
Right.
Ray has been.
So you found a great mechanic here.
Oh yeah, Ray's mechanic shop and fabrication.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's right behind the Gas and Go as you go up to Valencia. Is where his shop is. So if anybody needs
good mechanic in Valencia,
go see Ray. I'll even
Dumaguete area.
I'll even give Gio his phone number so he can post it down in the comments if you guys need to contact him for anything. He's got a guy that does the electrical work that's really good. So
now, some of the things that you've discovered was the electrical wiring was actually speaker wiring, which was shorting out because it couldn't handle the ampage.
Yeah,
right?
It was burning right through the insulation and the wiring itself.
Wow.
Yeah, I went through an AC blower motor because of that. It burnt the wires up and burnt the motor. My cooling fan for my radiator, it burnt right through the wiring, and when they got to looking at it, the wires had no insulation on it whatsoever.
Wow.
So the vehicle started overheating on us, and as long as I was above 60K, I had enough air flowing through to where it wouldn't overheat. But once you stopped and got into traffic, it started overheating.
Wow.
And Jesus, upper lower control arms both sides, struts both sides, front end alignment because we replaced front end parts, and the struts. I had two front end alignments because after the upper and lower control arms were replaced, there was a noise, and come to find out that both struts up front were dead. So I had to replace those, and since you replaced front end parts, you need to get another alignment.
Speaker went out.
Yeah, they hooked that back up. The thing about it is they took it down to get it aligned the first time, and they couldn't adjust it because the adjustment screw or adjustment nut, where once you adjust the front end, the tires, the camber, caster, and the toe, you have a lock nut there. You lock it in. They had welded that to the bar, so they had to cut that off.
Wow.
To be able to align the vehicle in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh man, the air conditioning vents weren't connected, so the air and the moisture was getting into the dash to where my gauges were fogging up, and it just wasn't cooling the vehicle down.
The door handles, the door locks or something weren't connected, or
the door lock and the window for the driver's sliding door. When I picked it up, or when they delivered it to me in Cebu, they didn't work, and they said, "Well, you need a control box for that." Well, I had my mechanic here, Ray, look at it. And he said, "Well, hell, they never connected the wiring to the thing. That's why." So he connects the wires up, and we're fine.
Okay.
So
So what is left now that needs to be done? You've done most of the work. I think there's a few things left.
Yeah, I had a fog light burn out. They put fog lights on that are sealed units.
Okay.
LEDs to where you can't replace the bulb. So, and to top it all off, they sealed them in with marine epoxy.
Okay. Well, I'm not familiar. So what does that do?
Marine epoxy is designed to be around or in salt water.
Oh, okay.
So it's not an automotive epoxy.
Gotcha. They just used whatever they had on hand, or whatever was cheapest, maybe. I don't know.
And the speakers for the stereo system, they're as cheap as they can buy. So I want to replace those.
Okay.
I already have replaced the stereo head unit.
Well, you've put so much work into it now. Would you think you'll just keep it? I know
I'll keep it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it runs great. I mean, and it rides good. You've ridden in it.
Yeah, it does. So I think you're saying so. There's also something wrong with the seats, right? They need insulation, or what was it?
Ray put insulation up underneath the seats, and
okay.
I did get me 2 fans that sit in the floorboard.
Okay.
That because since it's a left-hand drive, and in Japan it was a right-hand drive.
Okay.
The engine would be underneath the passenger, so the driver would be uncomfortable.
Okay.
But here, since they converted to left-hand drive, the engine's sitting directly underneath my ass. So
okay. So it gets a little warm.
Ray put some insulation underneath the seat, but you still get that bleed through. So I got 2 fans that I hook up to the cigarette lighter, and I have them blow air across the bottom of the seat.
Okay.
Which fixed that just fine.
Okay. So to go.
Oh, and you couldn't adjust the AC. You know, in the States, how you can adjust from cold to hot, and and it'll regulate the temperature. That wasn't even hooked up. There was no linkage to it, no nothing.
Wow.
So the electrician, he hooked linkage up to it to where it'll cut the compressor off,
right,
to maintain, because it was getting so cold that it would freeze the fan up for the blower motor, and I would have to turn it off so the fan would start blowing air again.
Wow.
I mean, it got that cold.
So originally you paid $250 or $300K?
305.
305, and that was supposed to be 4x4, which we discussed in your previous video, which is up above. You can watch it if you haven't seen it. But really, you should have spent, since it was 4x2, you should have spent about $250.
Oh yeah.
And so you spent an extra $50 just because of from the 4x2 to 4x4.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing,
and another 70 to 100 on top of this, fixing everything.
You know, the thing is supposed to, its first license. It took me 6 months to get my ORCR from them. I finally got that.
You got it, okay.
And they spelled my last name wrong. Go figure.
That happens in the Philippines quite often.
But you know, it's the way they present it is it's supposed to be basically a brand new vehicle, which means new engine oil. Didn't have it. It was dark as Texas tea. I had to replace the engine oil. Spark plugs are worn out, so I replaced them with NGK spark plugs. Wow. The air filter was black as Texas tea. Had to replace the air filter. Front brakes were gone. Had to replace the front brake pads. The rears still had about 50% left, and the wheel cylinders were in good condition. I did have Ray just recently replace the rear end differential with synthetic rear end diff fluid, just as a precaution. I mean, it wasn't, but I figured since I've done everything else, I might as well just change all the fluids out.
Sure.
The radiator was filled with regular tap water with no antifreeze, and anybody knows anything about a system in a car is it needs to be demineralized water so you don't have buildup in the radiator.
Right.
So Ray flushed that all out. He flushed the brake system out, put new brake fluid in it. I mean,
the power steering head went out too. After we did the video, actually.
Yep. Driving one day and the power steering just.
Yep.
Had to buy a module for that. It was $60.
Okay.
US. So It's just, good God. The thing about it is, all the original wiring from Japan is still there.
Right.
Even though they cut the top. If they would have just left the original wiring in there from Japan, which is high quality grade, and just extended the wire from the right-hand drive to the left-hand drive, all you needed to do was extend the wiring for the instrument cluster and your turn signals for the steering column. That's it.
Do you think they're selling some of those parts and then just putting in used filters and used oil and all this stuff, or what do you think they're doing? They're just trying to make as much profit as possible.
I don't think they do anything to it at all.
Nothing.
They put the seats in, they put the flooring in, they transfer it from right-hand to left-hand drive, put the dash in it. It's nowhere near the quality of the original equipment. Headliner, and they slap some tires on it, paint it, and it's good to go.
It's good to go. So
that's why you can order one and have it done in 3 weeks.
So if you could do it again, this time you would purchase with a place that has multicabs on stock on the lot.
Oh yeah, because that indicates that they are a successful business to where they have enough cash flow in their business to where they can have spec vehicles sitting out for sale at all times. So they're building them regardless of whether somebody's special ordered something.
And then would you bring a mechanic, or would
hell yeah, or I would ask them if I could take the vehicle to my mechanic to look at it.
Okay. And just inspect it all. I mean, it's inspect the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got a water leak from the windshield, so I don't know whether they're going to be able to seal that, or I may have to replace the windshield and have a new one put in it.
It's almost like you've just rebuilt the entire thing.
Pretty much. I mean, other than painting the thing and putting wheels on it, I have.
Yeah.
And the seats, the upholstery.
Right.
But
it's just insane. In the U.S., this would fall under what we call the lemon law, right?
I would have a lawsuit. In the States.
But here, there's not really anything. Maybe you can go to an attorney, but and that's the reason why we can't do a name drop. But what we can tell you is just don't go to a place that you don't have any multi-cabs on the lot. Go to one that has multi-cabs on the lot.
I will research the Facebook page of the people I did business with, and I'll give Geo the dates that my vehicle was featured on their page. So you guys have seen pictures of my vehicle. If you see that on their page, just don't do business with them.
Right.
I mean, it's that simple. Another thing too, as I'm looking at the list here, when I got the vehicle, the passenger rear tail light, when you put the brakes on, or either brakes or not, was dimmer
other side
than the other side.
Okay.
They put a 24 volt bulb in there instead of a 12 volt. So, just things like that. I mean, the drain hose for the AC, they didn't have it go onto the outside. So when they delivered it to me, the whole floorboard was full of water from the AC draining into the vehicle. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm on my third battery.
Third battery. And so what was causing the battery? Were they just bad batteries, or were they just...
well, the first battery looked like they dug it out of the dirt. And
maybe they had.
It lasted like 2 days. And then the battery they went and got was a low quality acid lead type.
Okay.
I had Ray-By sealed gel battery for it this time, so it should last a good long time. Just so many problems. I'll forward Gio the list of everything that I've written down that I've had to do to it, so he can post it in the video where you guys can read. You're gonna be astonished at all the stuff that actually been done to it. makes my head spin.
So again, a multi-cab is not a bad way to go. You just have to take some precautions.
Do your research. Don't be in a hurry, and don't go with somebody that only sells multi-cabs that are special order. Go with somebody that has, there's a place in Cebu that as you go to Ayala, they've got like 30 multi-cabs just sitting there ready to be sold.
Right.
Somebody that's established.
They got capital in the business. Yeah.
They've got liquid cash to where they can build these units. And if you want something special, at least you can look at what they've already done. Look at the wiring, see how thick it is. Check out the air conditioning system, and make sure that the vents don't fog up and fog the dash up. I mean, my dash would get so cold that I'd have water vapor on the outside.
Right. Well, I appreciate the update. I know you're going through other things with your eye now too. It's always more fun. Your eye is costing you. We'll just briefly mention you're going through. What is it called again with your eye?
Well, since June, I've had 2 retinal tears, and after the second tear that I had repaired with laser surgery, I'd say about 10 days afterwards, I developed a schisis, which is where the layers of the back of your eye separate. So now I'm going through a series of injections, 3 injections over the next 3 months to see if we can't get the layers to go back together to where my eyesight's good again.
Is this just one eye or both eyes?
Just the one, my right eye, which was my good eye. My left eye had a retinal tear that tore through the center spot back in January '98.
Wow. Now,
and had no problems with it other than it's like looking through. You go to the amusement park and you got the wavy. It squishes things together in the middle.
Okay.
So as far as if it's small print, I can't read it, but like the 50 on this bill, I can see that just fine.
Okay. Now you had done on your right eye. You did how many laser surgeries? 4. And then they finally discovered this, and then they said, okay, we can treat it with medicine. And the laser surgeries are how much here? About $40K, $50K?
By the time I get done with these 3 shots, I will have spent 400,000 pesos in 10 months on my eye.
400,000 pesos, and that's including the laser surgeries and the medical treatments. And
I mean, between my eye and the multi-cab, I could have bought a brand new car here.
Could have had a house built.
Shit, I could have bought that Triumph 660 I want, man. They still have money left over. Yeah.
All right. Well, good talking to you. We'll catch up again. See you guys.